bitch. Oh my God. I ain't gonna never stop loving you, bitch.
Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, what a video to enter on. If you're returning, hello, welcome back. Thank you so much for sticking around. I really appreciate you. So today, if you have not watched the vlog that went up before this, I'm having a little staycation for myself, because why not? I am very much being my own Valentine this year, and I think that's a very important thing to learn how to do. And yeah, so I figured while I'm sitting in this glorious tub, because I literally booked this king suite in Hotel Monaco in Denver for this tub. I figured why not do like the ultimate big sis talk. And by big sis talk, I mean big sis Q&A, because duh. So they gave me like this tray thing. I am not worthy of this, but I'm gonna take it. I'm surely gonna take it. So yeah, we're just chilling in a tub and we're gonna do a Q&A, and I have never been happier. And I made a very strong gin and tonic, so it's probably gonna get really fun. And if I run out of gin and tonic, there's more like literally right next to the tub. So yeah. I did put like bath bombs and stuff in here. It didn't get as bubbly as I wanted it to, but I think it was because of the sheer size of this tub. I probably should have gotten 2 bubble bars, and the bubbles are already on, but the water feels really like moisturizing and nice. So yeah, and I am in a bathing suit because I don't trust exposed lady bits with bath bombs or really hotel bathtubs, you know, and I will be taking a shower to rinse off after this. Anyways, I had been asking you guys on my Instagram and on my community tab to just ask me questions that could be related to weight loss, life, dating and relationships. They could be pertaining to you, they could be pertaining to me. I really don't care. And I did get like 3 weight loss questions, but I got a lot of, carbonation and bariatric stomachs do not mix very well. I did get a lot of life and dating questions, so I think I'm just gonna focus on those for this one. I apologize if you did ask any weight loss advice tips, but I think I might do just like a whole weight loss Q&A thing again, just a refresher, because I think I've gained a lot of subscribers since the last time I did that. So yeah, be on the lookout for that. I just went in order that I got them. And yeah, so we're going to do the life questions first and then the dating questions second, because I feel like the more gin I have in me, the more fun the dating questions are going to be. So yeah, let's just get into it. I'm really excited for this. This is going to be a really chill video to like put on in the background while you're doing stuff, or yeah. So like start your chores, go get a snack, do whatever you feel like doing, because we're about to get into it and there's a lot of questions. And I'm not going to put who asked these, because especially with the dating ones, because I just don't think people really signed up to have their questions exposed like that. So yes, okay, here we go. First life question. Where do you get your clothes and accessories? I like your style. It's a bit retro. First of all, thank you. Second of all, I don't really get my stuff from like any one place. It's kind of just like, if I like it and I have the money to buy it, I'm gonna buy it. But I do shop at Target a lot. I do shop at like H&M. I like having like classic staple pieces, but then like accessorizing. And so my accessories come from places like Target. I really like their jewelry. I get a lot of accessories from like thrift stores, stuff like that. And yeah, Amazon. I know that's very unoriginal, but it's just the truth. Would you ever consider doing a Denver meetup? The fact that this is even a possibility blows my mind. The fact that people would want me to do a Denver meetup blows my mind. I would. But I think times are still just like a little weird right now, and I don't want to put anybody in danger. If I did do one right now, there would have to be like proof of vaccination. So it's not out of the realm of possibilities, but I think I will wait until things get a little less weird. Favorite thing to buy at Target? I have 2 answers to this. Like I said, their jewelry. Their necklaces are some of the only necklaces, like cheaper end necklaces, that I can buy that don't turn my neck green. My neck turns green really easily with necklaces, and I have found that Target is the best for that. Also, their version of Halo Top, like their healthy ice creams, fucking smack. My favorite ones are the chocolate peanut butter one, but my ultimate favorite one is the mocha cold brew, I think it's called. That one is so good, and they're so much better than any other like diet ice cream I've ever had in my life. Favorite wine. So, ever since having weight loss surgery, I can't drink a lot of wine, and I think it's because of the acidity in wine. Probably the sugar content as well. But that being said, my favorite wine is any kind of Moscato. There's a place here, I know it's kind of like a chain called Postino's, and they have like I don't know if it's house, but they have a Moscato there, and it is so good. Like, it does not taste like wine, it tastes like juice, and it's kind of alarming. I could drink so much of it. But yeah, I like a Moscato. That's my favorite. Or a rosé, but more a Moscato. Yeah. But ultimately, I'm a gin bitch. I'm a dry bitter bitch. So, yeah. Cheers to that. This question is going to require a long answer. It made me kind of emotional when I read it. I'm not going to lie. This person asked, how can I learn to love myself? I'm genuinely lost where to start. Social media is really affecting the way I look at my body and life, but I don't want to disappear because of my internet friends. So, first of all, learning to love yourself truly and like unconditionally is a journey that I don't think will ever be done for anybody. It takes so much effort and so much energy to really take the time to focus on truly unconditionally loving yourself. And I'm saying this from experience because I've been doing a lot of that in the past like 6 or 7 months. Ever since my breakup, I've been doing a lot of learning how to do that. And my favorite way to start is to start a routine. And a routine of things that like only you like to do, you know? Like I talk about in my past vlog, because I kind of go in depth with my new skincare routine, that developing this skincare routine has been a way for me to really, really connect with myself and really show my body some love and care every day. And it only takes like 15-20 minutes. So that's a big way, like externally, that I've really learned to love myself. Internally, my biggest piece of advice, when I like read online about this question, my mind was blown. And so I am like a person that loves helping people, right? Specifically people like younger than me or the same age as me, and girls. Because any age under the age of 25, I feel like for girls in particular is really difficult, like socially. And so, but I ask myself, Megan, the things that you are thinking about yourself right now, the negative things that you are thinking of yourself right now, would you ever dream of telling them to your younger self? Or to someone or to like a girl who's younger than you? And the answer is always no. It's always fucking no. And so when I started thinking of things like that helped me so much. Or like, would you tell a friend these things? Because no, you wouldn't, because you're not a jackass. So like, why are you being a jackass to yourself? These are things I ask myself. So that's like a mental thing that I do to kind of like check in with myself to make sure I'm being as kind and as positive to myself as I can be. Also, with another external thing, if exercising is your thing, forming an exercise routine is one of the biggest acts of self-love I've done for myself in the last like 7 months. I've started lifting, and going to the gym and lifting is Megan time. I will not go to the gym with anybody else because it's Megan time. It's my time to use my body, move my body in ways that I like to. It doesn't have to be lifting. It can be any kind of movement that you find joyful. That's helped me a lot. And so, yeah, those, if you hear any like, that's just me moving my feet in the tub. But yeah, so that's like a big thing for me, is finding external things that you can do to start loving yourself, but also asking yourself, would you say the things that you are saying to yourself to other people? Because I can guarantee you the answer is no. The negative things, I can guarantee you the answer is a hard no. When it comes to social media really affecting the way that you look at your body and life, I need you to remember that social media is fake as fuck, okay? And I know that's hard to remember, because the way that these influencers position their lives, it makes it look so authentic in a way. But really, social media is just a highlight reel, dude. That's why I try and flaunt my averageness, you know? Because whenever you see anybody like an influencer or whatever flaunting their life, that's not real. That is not real. Like, and they can say all they want that it's real, but just from the small experience I've had on social media, like, I've had to check myself a couple times to be like, no, Megan, don't post that, because it's not authentic. And my life is not nearly as exciting as these people's is. So, like, I just don't believe that any of it's real. Super curated to garner followers and to then sell stuff. And as for comparing your body to people on social media, that's not fucking real at all. Like, I don't edit my own picture. I don't edit my pictures, like my body, because I know how harmful that is. I watch a girl, her name's Stephanie. I can't remember her name. I'll put her down and below. She has a lot more subscribers than I do. She does not need my shout out at all. But she's amazing. She has these videos called like The Girl in the Photo Doesn't Look Like the Girl in the Photo. And she shows like the retouched and unretouched photos next to each other. And I already knew social media was fake. Being a graphic designer too, I know what people do to photos to edit them. But that really was like, whoa, they're like next level with this. They really are. And like, it's pathetic and it's harmful, honestly. But unfortunately, I don't think there's anything that's ever going to be done about it to like regulate stuff. But none of it's real. And I know that's hard to remember because I get caught up in that. Like, I've wound up on like gym talk, lifting talk now. And like the people that are on that have like the most insane physiques that I feel like the average human could not attain, because our lives, we don't have enough time to dedicate our lives to fitness. And so I have to keep reminding myself of that. So I get that it's really hard to compartmentalize, but just do your best to remember that nothing is fake, or that nothing is real. And as for you not wanting to disappear because of your internet friends, if you truly, truly need to take a break from social media, I feel like your internet friends will understand. I have had friends take breaks from social media and then they come back and they're like, hey, just needed a breather. And I'm like, dope, glad you're back. I feel like they'll understand. So if you really, truly, truly need a break from social media, take a break from social media. That's not a bad thing to do. I need to do that more often, but I've done this thing now where I make money from social media. And I love it. I'm so grateful for it. But like, yeah, if you need to take a break from social media, take a break from social media. Okay, that was that really long answer. And here's a question with a quick answer. What's a song you've been listening to a lot recently? Dreams by the Cranberries. I fucking love the Cranberries. I always have. I always will. But every once in a while, I just get in like a Cranberries phase, and they're all I listen to for a good amount of time. Dreams by the Cranberries. If you know what this feels like, Dreams by the Cranberries sounds and feels like what falling in love feels like. I will not be elaborating further on this. Just go listen to it for yourself. It's a fucking banger of a song, and I'm sure you've already heard it, but like, it's so good. Fave Animal Crossing villagers. Rosie, Goldie, Meringue, and Isabel. Yeah. Those are my 4 favorite Animal Crossing characters. Oh, and Brewster. I don't know if he counts, but we're gonna count him because he's really important. He serves the coffee. So, like, he's my guy, you know? I go to the roost sometimes twice a day when I play Animal Crossing, so. What are you currently watching? Outlander. Okay. I have heard about this show for such a long time, and I've just never gotten into it. But I love a slutty period piece. I love a slutty period piece night, so I don't know why it's taken me so long to get into it. But, and I will say also, I fucking love Scotland, dude. I went to Scotland and I fell in love with it, and I want to go back just to visit Scotland. I don't remember it being that violent or that horny. It's so good. I'm only on the first season, but I love it. They're already married and stuff, so we're there. We've had the honeymoon. We've had the night of. And I'm a single fucking person. So I was just watching it like, wow. But yeah, Outlander is the show that I have been watching a lot of. And it's so fucking good. And if you have not watched it, go start watching it right now. What podcasts are you currently listening to? Honestly, I haven't been listening to a lot of podcasts recently. But if I do, I really like listening to Morbid, the true crime podcast, because I really like the way that they present the stories. They present it in like kind of a lighthearted way, but it's still really respectful to the people involved in the case, which I think is something that true crime has really lost since its boom in popularity. And yeah, so Morbid's been my favorite podcast as of recent when I'm in a podcasty kind of mood, and their voices are just really calming. All right, guys, here we go. I'm gonna add more gin to this. I'm just gonna, okay, hold on one second. We're getting into 19 dating and love related questions. So that's why I'm feeling compelled to add more alcohol to my gin and tonic. I'm gonna add more tonic too, because I don't feel like drinking just straight gin. Okay, here we go. And this is in the order I received them. And I can tell you they're going to go from like just cute, normal dating questions to like horny to like back to cute, normal dating questions. And Dad, if you are watching this video, do not watch this part. Just click off now. Okay, I think he's gone. Number 1 question, which I was actually really like kind of happy to get this question because it's super relatable for me. It says, I'm too scared to drive. In parentheses, I'm 28. And I've let that hold me back from dating. Any tips? First off, fun fact about me, I think I've talked about this in other videos, but like I think I've just mentioned it in passing. I don't drive. I don't have my license. I don't have a car. When I was of the age to start driving, I took my first segment of driver's ed, because in Michigan you took segment 1 and segment 2, and then in between segment 1 and segment 2 you had to log so many hours of driving, and then after segment 2 you took your driver's test and you got your license. That's how it worked in Michigan. I think that's pretty common. But here's the thing with me, driving gave me a literal panic attack behind the wheel, like actual panic attacks behind the wheel. And so my parents were like, yeah, we're not making you do that. And so I just never did. And now I'm at the point where I feel like I've lived enough life, I've experienced enough trauma that like I think I'm okay with the idea of driving, but owning a car in Denver is really fucking expensive. So I want to comfortably be able to own a car. When that's going to happen, I have no idea. My first priority is moving to a bigger apartment. So yeah, I don't drive. I've dated a lot. I do not give a shit. If somebody wants to judge me for not driving, that's their own problem. I will say when I start making plans to like meet somebody on a date, I just phrase it as I don't have a car. And then I never accept rides. I never accept pickups, ever. That's just a safety thing. Use your best judgment on rides home. But even then, I don't really accept those a whole lot. Like, I have to know you are not going to murder me for you to give me a ride home, at least to the extent that I can know that. So yeah, I always phrase it as I don't have a car, and then I go from there. Usually on the date, I extend into I don't have my license, and then I see how they react. So yeah, just don't let it hold you back from dating too much. I feel like not driving's a very common thing in our generation, actually. I've met a lot of people who don't drive. So I would not be as self-conscious about it as you are. But I know that's easier said than done. All right. Whoa. Okay. How do you get over the fear of looking silly when taking yourself out on dates? Okay. I talked about this in my vlog because if you haven't watched the vlog yet, part of this whole staycation thing was I purposefully took myself out to a really nice dinner at a very nice restaurant the Saturday before Valentine's Day on Monday. When the restaurant was doing a special Valentine's Day menu. So, yeah. And I just sat at the sushi bar by myself and had a fucking great time. So, how do you get over the fear of looking silly when taking yourself out on dates? You don't. At least I haven't. I'm more comfortable with it now. And I've honestly always been like comfortable enough with it to do it in the first place. But I think that's because I'm an only child and I got really comfortable with my own company really quickly because I had to. And then when I studied abroad in London, I had to get used to eating by myself just out of necessity. But like, my advice for this is the same as the advice that I give to people for overcoming gym anxiety. And that is, you have to realize that nobody in that establishment gives a single fuck about you. I know that's harsh, but it's true. And if they do, then that's their problem. I just see, and I talked about this in my vlog too, so if you've watched it, I'm sorry for repeating myself, but it all goes back to loving yourself. And I'm going to say this, I got another question like this. So for the other person that asked this question, I'm not ignoring you, I promise. But it all goes back to the journey of self-love and self-respect. And for me, I talk a lot about how feeding and nourishing your body is a very, very important aspect of self-love and self-respect. However you see fit, as long as you're not hurting yourself. And so I think when we go out to dinner and like you are with other people or whatever, you're not as focused on the food. And that's okay. Like sometimes you're more focused on socializing, but you're not as focused on the food. And so when you go out to a really nice place, like it's a really nice place. It's Uchi in Denver. It's so good. It's a really nice place. And I loved being there by myself, being able to enjoy and savor the food that I was eating. And to me, that was a really big act of self-love, was thoroughly just focusing on all the flavors and like the mouthfeel and all that. It's a big act of self-love. And I think if you start looking at it that way, you kind of start feeling less silly. And also, if you start making friends with like the wait staff and stuff, like your waitress and everything, it's way more fun too. I got a free oyster tonight because they just liked what I was doing. And yeah, so I think if you view taking yourself out on dates as an act of self-love, I think anything after that just kind of becomes irrelevant. And you will still feel kind of silly, but you'll just constantly remind yourself, like, I'm doing this for myself. I'm doing this because I love myself. And then you'll kind of get over that hump every time you start doubting yourself. By the way, if I skipped your question, it's because I didn't have an answer. Like, I haven't experienced that. Fuck, marry, kill Jack Harlow, Lil Nas, and Jeff Goldblum. Marry Jack Harlow. I'm not elaborating further on that. Fuck Lil Nas, kill Jeff Goldblum. I'm sorry. I'm not elaborating any further on this answer. That's just my answer. What was the worst attempt at an insult you've ever received? What was the best compliment you've ever received? So the worst attempt at an insult I've ever received is not one in particular, but I think it's just when anybody ever calls me like fat. Because I'm like, no shit. And I'm not even that fat anymore, but like still, I'm like, no fucking way, bro. How original. Never heard that one before. Like, it's so stupid. I hate that. The best compliment I've received, so I can think of two. And they're both from men. I'm taking this in a dating sense. So they're both from men. One was a guy that I was talking to on a dating app. We were texting like on Tinder, because that's where we met. He told me I looked radiant. And I was in the car with my girlfriends, and I was like, yo, this guy just told me I look radiant. What? And for some reason, that sticks out to me as like one of the best compliments I've received. The second one was on, quite frankly, one of the best dates, if not the best date I've ever been on, which is saying something. But it was after, like, we went out to dinner, and I trusted him that he wasn't going to murder me, so he gave me a ride home. And he was like really big animal person, so I invited him up to my apartment to like meet my cats and stuff. This was like 2 years ago. And we had talked about my weight loss and all that. And I think I had kind of opened up to him a little bit about my body image issues as well. We were like in my kitchen, and he like grabs me, like he doesn't grab me, but he just looks at me. And he goes something to the effect of like, obviously when I saw you, I thought you were really beautiful, like physically. He said, and this was like 3 or 4 hours into the date. Like we had just been talking this entire time. And he goes, but now that I've gotten to know you and your mind, it's like so much better. That's essentially what, I don't remember exactly what he said, but it was something along those lines. And at that point, even honestly to this point, I don't think a guy has ever said that to me. And being complimented on, one, my looks is nice, but being complimented on like my personality and my mind, that satisfies my Virgo heart. And yeah, this dude is really fucking hot too. So I was like, all right, dude, I'm happy you are pleased with what you've experienced thus far. So those are the two best compliments I've received from men. Best compliments I've received just from people in general is anytime anybody messages me saying that my content that I produced has helped them in some way. I cannot tell you how much that warms my heart, because that's the only reason I do this. I love it, but like I love helping people, and I love helping people feel less alone. So yeah. What are your dating red flags? Anything in their dating app about weed. I don't care. I smoke. But like, if it's that important to you that you put it in your dating app profile, I just think we're on two different levels with that. It's great for you, not as important to me. If they talk about themselves too much, I like talking about myself. But I like a balanced conversation. So if they just talk about themselves, I'm like, no thanks. What else? If they can't just hold a conversation, I cannot tell you some of the dates I've been on where these boys just cannot hold a conversation to save their soul. And I can have a conversation with anybody. So if they cannot maintain a conversation with me, I know there's going to be an issue. If they're a Republican. If they're not vaccinated. If I find out after a month that they've been lying to me about what their name is, that's a personal experience. I was like, what? If their only personality seemingly from their dating profile is their dog and or going to the gym with protein shakes, chicken, broccoli, and rice, that's extremely boring to me. I think those are it, really. I haven't really come across like any super glaring red flags. I mean, obviously if they have like what appears to be like aggression issues or like any misogynistic tendencies, if they're a Republican. Listen, I don't even mind moderate dudes, okay? I don't. But like if you are just a straight up like red-blooded Republican who voted for Donald Trump and thinks coronavirus is a Democratic hoax, it's a no from me, dog. It's a no from me. Yeah, those are the ones I can think of right now. The best meal you've ever had on a date that went bad, but you still remember the food. Okay, so I don't have a food because we didn't get to food. So, yeah, and I've honestly only had like a handful of like truly bad dates, okay? So I don't have a food because we never got to food. We never got to drinks. Let me tell you the story of when I got stood up mid-date. Mid-date. This was 2 years ago, and I still remember it, obviously, because it was kind of traumatic. I'm not going to lie to you. Me and this guy matched on Tinder. We had been talking for like a few days. He knew it was going to be my birthday when we met up because I didn't have any birthday plans. He was in town visiting, I think, for like job interviews. He was staying at a hotel. So I was like, hey, what if we just start at the bar at your hotel? Because it was like downtown, and then we go from there. And he was like, great. So I meet him there. We hug. We sit down. He had come from a meeting, which this should have been a red flag to begin with, but he had come from a meeting, and he had his MacBook with him. And so we sat down, he had his MacBook, whatever. We start talking, and he was like, hey, do you mind if I run up to my room to put my MacBook back up in my room? And I was like, no, because I would not want my $2,000 computer sitting on a shitty bar table either. So he went up. I waited like 10, 15 minutes. I was getting ready to text him, and at that point I was using Snapchat to communicate with boys, which I no longer do. Because that's a red flag in itself. That's another red flag. If he only wants to communicate via Snapchat, run, girl. Or WhatsApp, run, girl, run. Or boy, or non-binary. Whatever you identify as, just run. But I was getting ready to text him on Snapchat. He had unfriended me on Snapchat. I went to Tinder, just out of morbid curiosity. He had unmatched me on Tinder. And so this man went up to his hotel room and ghosted me and never came back. And I really, really wish I would have had his room number, because I would have charged like an entire bottle of alcohol and like a lot of food to his room. But I didn't have his number, so unfortunate. But yeah, that's my worst date story. There was no food involved because we never got there. I just left. So, yeah. And it was on my birthday too. Even better. How has the way you receive love changed as you've grown up? So I think it's always kind of been the same. I just think I'm more aware of it now. Giving love, I'm a big gift giver. I love giving people stuff. I love putting thought into gifts and giving them things. But I also love just helping them if they need help, making their lives easier in any way I can. And that's a big thing I've been working through in therapy, is how to keep doing that without sacrificing my sanity. But yeah, I'm a big giver. That's how I give love, is I give gifts, I help, I do whatever. I will listen to you spew about life. I don't care. I just want to help you feel better. How I receive love is definitely through acts of service. As an independent only child, I'm not used to having people help me with stuff. I mean, my parents help me with stuff all the time, but like, it was just an unnecessary burden that I put on myself. My parents help me with everything. Don't take that the wrong way. Whenever somebody that I'm like dating or one of my friends like offers to help me with something, I remember with my ex, like a big thing for me was when he would just clean my apartment while I was working. That was huge for me because it was such a big thing that I no longer had to do. And so anything like that is like a big thing. I remember too with that guy, that was like one of the best dates I've been on. We were going somewhere else and he helped me like carry my bag. And I was like, you don't have to do that. Like, if you saw the stuff I carry back from the grocery store, like I could win a strongman competition. He was like, but I want to. And that was just something that really stuck out to me. Just little things like that. That's how I receive love. So I don't think it's ever changed. I just think as I've grown up, it just looks different. Does that make sense? I don't know if that makes sense, but that's how I'm going to answer it. The gin is kicking in. I just blew a whole booger out of my nose. I'm so glamorous. What? Wow. Okay. This tub is amazing. This was such a good idea. Did you watch The Tinder Swindler? Would you have gotten on the plane to Bulgaria? Okay, yes, I have seen The Tinder Swindler. I actually watched it like 1.5 times because I was watching it and then I realized I wasn't paying attention, ADHD things. So I started it over again. And my God, I feel bad for the girls. I really do, because I do think to a point I probably would have fallen for some of it. But I think my one hang up is that I would not have been able to be approved for the loans that they were applying for. I don't know if I would have gotten on the plane to Bulgaria, but I did recently recreate Tinder because I'm slowly dipping my toe back into just meeting people because I really love meeting people. And at the end of my Tinder bio, after the stuff that like actually is about me, I put, and no, I will not take out a loan for $25,000 in cash if your enemies are after you. So, yeah. If you haven't watched that documentary, go watch it. It's a fucking ride, dude. It is a ride. I struggle with the idea of sharing my time with another person. Is that maybe selfish? Girl, look at me. I don't know if you're a girl, but look at me. I've literally spent this entire day just pampering myself and loving on myself. Not in that way, but like loving myself. I'm a big fan of my personal time. And I think if there's anything I've learned post-breakup, it's how important my personal time is to me. And so, no, it's not selfish. To answer your question, it's absolutely not selfish. For me, I think I have realized since then how important being in a relationship, but also, how important while in a relationship, maintaining my independence will be to me. I will need us to be somewhat independent from each other because I think that's healthy. So no, being worried about sharing your personal time with another person is not selfish, at all. If anything, it's healthy because I think when you start breaking that boundary, that's when codependency starts, and that's not healthy either. And so, yeah. It's not selfish. I also feel the same way. I will know I have found the person when the next person I want to date or be in a relationship with, when I want to spend some of my personal time with them. Because I've re-realized the value of my own personal time. So no, you're not selfish. Your personal time is so important. It's the most important. Because at the end of the day, all we have is ourselves. So you should love spending time with yourself, and you should be apprehensive about giving your personal time to another person, in my humble opinion. My kitty looks deflated after losing 100 pounds. I'm married, but still a little self-conscious. How can I change my thinking? I love myself, but sometimes it's hard. Girl, okay, I do not have a deflated kitty. My kitty very much looks the same, unfortunately. But I do have a very deflated stomach. And this goes with what I talked about in my dating and sex post-weight loss video. In that, especially if you're married, the person you're with already kind of knows what you look like, okay? And so, like, when you get naked, they're just going to be even happier because they're already attracted to you with clothes on. That's just been my personal experience. If it's your husband, girl, he put a ring on that. He put a ring on that kitty. And he vowed to love you for better or worse, deflated or not. So, I don't have any tips on how to feel better about it. But if you're specifically worried about attraction, girl, he put a ring on it. He loves that kitty. And he's probably very proud of that kitty for losing 100 pounds. And if he's not, that's his fucking problem. So, that's my answer to that question. Ooh, okay. Oh, this is a fun one. Okay. One time my boyfriend asked me to give him a lap dance or strip tease, and I didn't know how to. Is this something people usually do during foreplay? I've never done this during foreplay, and I'm going to be honest with you. I feel like if I ever did this for foreplay, I would be laughing at myself. Because I'm still learning to see myself as like a sexy person. That's something I'm still learning how to do. I don't know if this is a normal thing people do for foreplay. I personally have never done it, but I could see it being very hot. As for not knowing what to do, I do know there's a lot of like burlesque tutorials online. I know there's probably a lot of tutorials for this specific thing online. So Google's your friend. Go look that up because it's out there. If you want to do it, if you want it, are you comfortable doing it first? Secondly, if you are, there's resources out there for you to learn how to do it. Do you feel the same about Valentine's Day single as you do/did in a relationship? Yes and no. I've always loved Valentine's Day. I love love. That's just how I am. I love love, and I think Valentine's Day can be really cute and cheesy and special between you and your romantic partner. When I was dating, because like I said in my vlog, I'm doing this whole like staycation thing mainly because this is my first Valentine's Day since I've started dating, which was like 4 years ago that I've been single. And so I've only ever seen it as like a romantic partner thing. Now that I'm single, I think that Valentine's Day is a good reason to show yourself love, to show your friends love, like just to appreciate the people that you love in your life, yourself and other people. And so I think that's the one thing that's changed for me with my view on Valentine's Day, is that it's no longer a thing about just who I'm banging at the time. It's also about loving yourself and your platonic people as well. Yeah. So it stayed the same when it comes to romantic partners because I love being cheesy and sexy and whatever. But I have added the part of it should also be important to show extra love to myself and the platonic people around me. Where do you like to buy lingerie? Savage X is really good. I will say their sizing runs a little small, so size up most of the time. Adore Me is really great. I really like theirs. Those are both subscription services, but you can skip every month. Torrid, I know Torrid is like a controversial figure at the moment, but they make some damn good lingerie. Like, oh, some of my favorite bras I have are from Torrid. And also Playful Promises is also very good. It's pretty pricey, but the quality is amazing. So yeah. How important is sex in a relationship? Like if everything is there but the sex. Sex to me in a relationship is extremely important. I like sex. I like having sex. I like talking about sex. I like everything there is to do with sex. And specifically with a partner and somebody I'm in a relationship with. I'll never forget, I watched this movie. This is not going in the direction you think it is. I watched this movie. I think it was Get Smart with Tina Fey and Steve Carell, which I know is a remake. But in that movie, one of their friends, or one of their couple, like one of their friends who are married to each other are getting a divorce. And one of them goes, it's just gotten to the point where we feel like really good roommates. And to me, a relationship, depending on your sexuality, like if you are not, because I know there's sexual orientations out there where like you are not sexually attracted, sex is not a thing. That's not what I'm talking about here. I'm talking about just like heterosexual, like normal, boring stuff. I get told all the time that I give off like bi vibes, and I'm always like, bitch, I wish I could be a little more fun. You know, I wish I could be physically or like sexually attracted to women. But unfortunately, I was not gifted with that. Anywho, to me, in a heterosexual relationship in my life, if there is no sex, and I know sex comes in ebbs and flows. I know sex is like a very variable thing in a relationship. Obviously, if like things are happening, like we're both really busy, whatever, circumstances, you know. But for the most part, if there is no sex, to me, that's when we become really good roommates. And I think that sex is a very important distinguishing thing between really good roommates / best friends and a romantic partner. So it's really important to me. But that's a very person-to-person thing. So yeah, that's all I have to say about that. What are you looking for most with dating, a relationship, a fun time, etc.? I have recently told myself now that I am open to the idea of having another person, meaning I am open to the idea of entering into another relationship. But whatever or whoever that is with, it has to be a slow burn. We have to take our time getting to know each other, whether that's through seeing other people when we're still dating before we go exclusive, whatever. It has to take time, because that's just something that really matters to me before we jump into being like, we're exclusive, and I start putting like all my energy into that person. But yeah, I think for now with dating, right now I'm just about meeting people. If I jive with someone, continuing that. I'm very over hookups. I cannot do those anymore. I'm actually like, I do not sleep with people on the first date anymore. That's like a thing for me. And yeah, so right now I'm like just meeting people with the prospects of potentially entering into a relationship, but I'm not rushing anything if it's not meant to happen. Do you have a type? Also, what do you think is the best thing about being single? For the type, I tell this to my friends all the time. I do not have one. I just like men. I just like men. I will say overall now, it is important to me that they are somewhat athletic, like somewhat give a shit about their health, because I give a shit about my health. And that's a very important part to me. But other than that, like, I don't really, like, I'm attracted to both Post Malone and Jimmy Garoppolo from the San Francisco 49ers. So like stinky boy and like frat boy. Like I don't care. If I think you're hot, I think you're hot, and that's it. So like I really don't have a type. I just like men. I'm just horny and I like men. What do you think is the best thing about being single? This goes back to the other question. Being able to do whatever I want. Being on Megan time. I love being on Megan time. And like I said, I will know I have found a person worth pursuing when I want to share my Megan time with them. So yeah, I just like being able to do whatever I want. Not that you can't do that when you're in a relationship, but like not having another person in my life that like has pull, you know? I don't know if I'm explaining that correctly. And lastly, this is a zinger, but it kind of has to do with Valentine's Day, because they mentioned Valentine's Day in the question. What are your views on porn? Since it's Valentine's Day, single or in a relationship, sometimes it's about sex, which is true. I would like to be banging on Valentine's Day when I'm in a relationship, or when I'm not in a relationship, you know? Anyways, my view on porn is that I think it's totally fine and everybody watches it and it's healthy to watch it, but you have to make sure you're going to the right sources. So I very rarely frequent the Hub because it's really unethical. My favorite porn website is Bellesa, because it is female owned, and if you want to pay, you can get even more content that is female owned and produced, and everything is like super consensual and super safe. That's my favorite website. And it's like the Hub has their like for women section, but Bellesa is all for women. Like, I don't care. Most of the stuff on there is shot for the female gaze and the female gaze alone. And so yeah, I think watching porn is super healthy. I think it could be really fun with a partner. I think in some ways it could be educational too, if it's like properly done and not skeevy and gross. And yeah, so I think it all just comes down to where you're finding it and where you're consuming it. But I think it's totally healthy and totally cool. Sex work is work, and it's really fucking hard work. So let's not forget that. Okay. I have been filming for an hour, 57 minutes to be exact. And I've answered all your life and dating questions that you have asked me. And I hope you enjoyed this video. The gin is kicking in. And yes, so I'm gonna stop this here. Thank you guys so much for sticking around. Be sure to love yourself, take care of yourself, be kind to yourself, be kind to others, drink your water, take your meds, and I will see you in the next one. All right, and I won't be in a tub. Okay, bye.